Yo, what is going on, gamers, and welcome back to another Fortnite gameplay video. Hey, in this video I wanted to break down some of my tips on how to emerge victorious over your competition when you land in the hottest new location on the Fortnite Battle Royale map, the Tilted Towers. Now, I've had some matches where 20 people land in Tilted. I've had matches where only 10 land in Tilted. It varies, but either way, you're almost certainly going to have to eliminate half a dozen or more opponents if you want to come out on top with the best loot. Unless you find a parking garage and camp for 10 minutes till everyone in town dies off, which I wouldn't personally suggest. Now, Tilted covers as much horizontal space as Pleasant Park, say, but it has a vertical dimension to it, making the amount of traversable, lootable space in Tilted unmatched by any other location by far. And it's that vertical space that matters most when fighting here. Now, sometimes people would be above you, sometimes they're below you, but you have to remember that building is your best friend. There are tons of wood pallets scattered throughout the buildings that give you a lot of wood for building, so make sure you're taking the time to break those down. You're going to need to close gaps on opponents quickly, and building is the best way to do that, whether it's bridges from one rooftop to another or ramps down from your rooftop to the ground to grab loot from the bodies that you've dropped, or even stepping out the fifth story window and building a ramp up the outside of the building to the 6th floors so that you can catch the guy hard scoping the stairway off guard and surprise him with some buckshot to the back of his camping noggin. Don't just see things as they are, but instead as they could be. You're never really trapped in Fortnite unless your back is against a mountain or a hill. Everything else is malleable, and you have to consider how you can change the environment to fit your needs. You need to change the environment so that you're the one with the advantage, not your opponent. So your landing is important too. You often have to call an audible and move away from your initial location if another player is lower and they're going to get to your location first. So be ready to break away. The street level isn't necessarily a bad place to be. It's low, it leaves you a little vulnerable, but there's plenty of loot and materials down there to get you into a place where you can challenge the people up in the high rises. So I would say beware of traps. Always check the ceilings and the walls before entering a new room, especially keep your eyes peeled when you're ascending a staircase in the buildings. People love to trap stairways. That's why I often prefer to clear a building from the top down, not the bottom up. I build up to the roof, and then I go down from there. I also suggest that unless you're in the middle of a fight or you're healing, you should always try to get line of sight on any fight you hear going down. If you're looting a building and you hear shots, stop looting. Try to see where the fight is taking place. Sometimes you may have to just put 1 or 2 bullets into the winner of that fight in order to put them down, since you're usually damaged. They're usually damaged from the fight. The best loot, in my experience, the best loot usually comes from the players you eliminate, not the buildings you're looting. You may find a special treasure here and there scattered throughout the places that you're looting, but generally the best loot that you're going to find in this game is the stuff that you're going to pull off the bodies of other players. And another enemy player is way better than any chest is going to be usually. So you're better off stopping your looting in a building and push the advantage on fighting players that you hear, instead of letting them duke it out and allowing the victor of that fight to loot the other guy's body and to heal up while you open one more chest that usually gives you a white SMG, right? I always say the bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush. So take what you've got over the the thing that's on the other side of the hill that could be amazing. Just take the good thing in front of you, the more obvious thing, and usually you'll end up in a better position. So usually when I'm done clearing Tilted Towers, there are catwalks and sky bridges going from just about every building to every other building. And when the zone says it's time to go, I either jump pad out to avoid cockroaches camping below or in the surrounding hills, or I just build a bridge from a building top straight out of town so I don't have to walk down in between the buildings. So people, they seem to not really expect those aggressive pushes. They kind of see the distance between rooftops as a barrier in between them and you. So you'll see in the gameplay here, I've had several fights where I'll put shots on a guy and he'll just kind of recede back into his tower or his walls that he's built up, and he'll just kind of assume that he's safe, and he'll start his healing process, and I'll push right up on the guy, and I mean, half the time they don't see it coming at all. They are not prepared. It's almost like seeing these different building tops is sort of this illusion in their minds that it means that you're far away. And it means that you have to come way down off your building top and run way over to their building from the street and then run all the way up the stairs in order to get to them. And they're thinking, I've got so much time. But in reality, the straight line distance between you and them is not that much. And if you're quick on your builds, you can close those gaps real quick and get an advantage on them. And oftentimes what I do is, you may be a little bit nervous to build those sky bridges because you're thinking, well, the second I get close, he's just going to start spamming my build and I'm going to fall. Two things I would tell you then. A lot of times guys they'll have to pick. Are they going to shoot the build or are they going to shoot you? So if you are ready, if your eyes are glued onto their location as you're running and building, then you can see when they peek. As soon as they peek, you stop building and you instantly just start spamming shots on them because they're going to start taking damage and they have to decide, am I going to shoot the guy's build or am I going to shoot him to get him to stop shooting me? So sometimes they kind of like panic. They don't know what to do in that moment. And you may be able to get a couple of shots on them before, you may be able to kill them before they destroy your build. And sometimes if they hit your build, here's the advice I would give you. Always have your ramps hotkeyed, because sometimes you're going to fall. And in order to avoid taking, the maximum amount of damage, always have that ramp hotkeyed so that as you're falling, you can just instantly pull up your ramp, your staircase, whatever, and just start spamming the build button. So the second you get low to the ground, you build a ramp, and it saves you an additional like 10 feet that you would have fallen. And that it may not sound like a lot, but it ends up saving your life quite often. So always have those ramps hotkeyed. Have most of your builds hotkeyed, in fact. That's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to help you push those gaps a lot faster. Well, I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope that you found the gameplay entertaining. Feel free to stop by the Twitch stream anytime. We get lots of wins usually, and we have a lot of fun. Our community is very welcoming. They're a wonderful group of folks that started over 3 years ago, and the channel's been partnered for over 2, so we'd love to see you around. You can find me on Twitter at @TheTrueVanguard and on Twitch at @TheTrueVanguard as well. So I hope to see you on the battlefield.